What is going on, everyone, and welcome to r/EntitledParents. In today's first story, a CEO of a company demands that her employees work for free. Before we jump into that though, if you aren't already, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel. As you all know, it's completely free to hit that button, and I'm trying to hit 600,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. What a gift it would be to hit 600k at the end of the worst year I can possibly ever think of in existence. So yeah, hit the button, let's get into the video. Aspiring CEO wants people to work for her for free, and she calls the cops on me when I try to help. Karen, an aspiring CEO of a startup, was a roommate in a shared house I lived in during my internship at a tech company. Her fear is that someone would steal her startup idea, so the first time we met, she asked whether I worked at her competitors. She then introduced me to F, whom she called her friend, and she said was always willing to drive her around for shopping. Later, I realized that's her definition of friends. People who she could use. Her friend is also a freelance graphic designer who Karen hired to design her pitch deck. As months passed by, her friend and I got closer, as we have similar hobbies, and soon he confided in me that Karen hasn't paid him for the hours he did her last deck. Karen has been telling everyone in the house that she's broke, so her friend felt bad for asking for his payment, but he needed the money too. I merely cheered him up and said nothing other than, let's hope she'll get her funding soon with the new deck. Then, Karen asked her friend to change some numbers in the slides, because she said investors would like to see the updated numbers, and her friend refused to do so until Karen pays him for the last job, or at least signed a written agreement that she would pay in installments by a deadline. You know what, I reckon we'll give this guy a name. Let's call him Fred. In the meantime, seeing that Fred and I were spending a lot of time together, which means she lost her driver, Karen was talking behind my back with my other housemates, accusing me of being a bad and evil roommate, and even cheating on my partner with Fred. Once, after asking when my internship would end, she suddenly just told me to leave my partner and stay with Fred. I just smiled and said it's none of her business. Fred and I were just friends. I would leave the area once my internship ended, back to my partner of 7 years, and Fred knew that for a fact. I guess she also thought that I convinced Fred to never help her again with her deck. I did no such thing. Fred is an adult and could make his own decision on what to do with his life. So basically, Karen was trying to kick me out of the house, as she has done once to another roommate, and she's proud of it. However, she didn't get any support from the others because everyone else was also fed up with her. So instead, Karen decided to move out herself because I felt the house's environment as toxic. I was relaxing on my bed, we were sharing a bedroom, while she was packing her stuff. And then, hey, I'm moving out. I hope you treat Fred well. Everyone was sad that I'm losing a good friend like him. Sure, he's a friend. I won't use my friends. Well, you made him lose his job and income. She meant designing her deck. Investors are waiting for the new deck. Your personal life is ruining my startup. Hey, don't drag me into your problem with him. I have nothing to do with it. If you've got a problem with him, talk to him. Don't talk to me. Of course it has everything to do with you. He's in love with you. Can't you see it? I roll my eyes. What happened between me and Fred is none of Karen's business. It shouldn't interfere with her professional relationship with Fred either. The problem, I say, is that you haven't paid him. Solve that issue professionally. Do not make it personal. He refused to help with my deck because of you. I told my friends about it. They were livid. See, that's exactly your problem. Instead of talking to him directly, you talk to other people about it. Bullseye. After that, she was spouting things that don't make any sense. She said, I don't know anything about how startup works. Her mum is sick and could lose the money she put into her daughter's startup. And whose fault is that? She is now broke and trying so hard to get funding for her startup, so she desperately needs her new deck. I put on my headphones, trying to sleep. I wasn't really interested to hear her whining about her life. I needed to get up early for work the next day, while she was usually still on the bed, swiping at her phone, even when I was ready to leave for work. The perks of being a startup founder. She then started sending Fred threatening emails, demanding him to send her the raw files of the design ASAP, and to sign an NDA, because she's afraid people will steal her idea and research data. Fred refused because he didn't want her to trick another designer to do it for her for free. I wanted to free Fred of Karen's hateful emails, and to help Karen as well, so I sent her a message through LinkedIn. Not our first exchange. She once asked me where I was one night, not sleeping at the house. I was at my company outing. I have screenshots of the conversation, so this is accurate. Hi Karen. Instead of wasting your time harassing someone you can't afford to pay to work for you, you could change the deck yourself. I then continued explaining how to convert PDF to other editable formats. Karen replied, "This is your fault. You don't understand startups. Get your personal life out of my company. If you're unable to get yourself out, third parties will. You have until midnight to get yourself out of my company so it can proceed properly. If you contact me again, I'm calling police for harassment and looking into a restraining order." But she just called the police anyway. I agree, I have no idea how startups work. But if I were a startup founder, I would try to persuade people to work for me with my passion for my ideas, not with aggression, threats, and by meddling into their private life. You should really separate business from personal matters. I was writing my long reply, so I didn't read her last message about restraining order and calling police when I hit send. My original intention was to help Fred by helping Karen, but looking back now, I was at fault here, giving unsolicited advice layered with some judgments and critiques. I'm not proud of what I did, but at least I learned my lesson, not to repeat the same mistake. After that, I stopped sending messages. It's hopeless, I thought, as she wanted, but she then replied to me, "Get your personal life the F out of my company. You have until midnight to make things right. Investors are waiting for a fixed deck. If your personal life is in my company, have Fred send an editable version to this guy to fix. He's in tech. Here's his contact information for you." She put a link to my partner's website. "I really am contacting police if you reach out to me again. Please stop. I asked you to stop. Lurking on my LinkedIn needs to stop." At that point, I felt like I was the one being harassed, since I said absolutely nothing and she kept messaging me. What creeps me out is that she stalked me online, found out who my partner is, possibly from Facebook, then Googled his name to get into his website. My partner is my colleague. We both have PhDs in computer science. So sure, both of us know how to edit presentation slides as we make our lectures. But I was a bit offended when she simply said, "He's in tech," and expected him to fix her slides. Anyway, she was proven to be delusional, so I blocked her on LinkedIn and Facebook. I guess she didn't know this feature exists, otherwise she would simply do that when she desperately wanted me to stop contacting her. I wonder how her startup is doing now. Now look, I get that Karen is a CEO, but she is only the CEO of a startup, so obviously startups don't have too much money, too much wiggle room then to, make mistakes or, pay employees clearly, but you have to pay your employees. Just because you are the CEO of a startup doesn't mean that other people have to work for free as well. A lot of CEOs, when they have startups, they've just started a brand new business, they don't pay themselves for a long, long time, and yeah, the company makes a loss for a while, a number of years, but that is how you eventually get profitable. It doesn't mean though that you can't pay your staff in the meantime. They can't work for free as well. If you're working for free because you have to, it's your company, you got to do that, but yeah, you got to pay your staff. Like what? You can't just not pay them. That's ridiculous. OP, I want to say well done to you for, stepping in, sorting out Fred, because maybe without your influence there, he would have continued working for Karen for free for a very long time, and obviously, that's not sustainable. Fred's got to eat, guys. I've always said it. Fred deserves some food. That's what I think about this one. Let's move on to our next post. Now moving on to our next story. Entitled/racist Japanese salesman wanted to send me to a gas chamber, but he spoke a little too loud. Since I have positively tested for corona and I have to be quarantined, I'd like to share a story from a few years ago just to pass the time. Note that the things that were said are all roughly translated from Japanese unless otherwise stated. I'm originally from the Netherlands, but I moved to Japan 18 years ago, and all I can say, Japan is a really nice place if you know where to find work. I don't look Japanese, but I'm well-mannered, follow Japanese traditions and etiquettes well, and I took the surname of my Japanese wife, since my surname is unpronounceable in Japanese, and I didn't want to bother my wife, my kids, and the Japanese people with an unpronounceable name. So basically, I'm as Japanese as a foreigner can be, I guess, though I still do some Dutch things together with others, like baking oil balls during New Year, and treating my staff to peppernoten on Sinterklaas, which are pretty much Dutch biscuits. So after I had a business meeting in Tokyo, and after that was concluded, I decided to eat some ramen at a local ramen shop. I just like the more low-key food stands. It was a small-scale ramen shop which had a note, "No foreigners allowed." You see these signs more than you think on these smaller shops and stands, but in most cases, the owners put these posters on the stand because the owners can't speak English, so a lot of times, if you do speak Japanese, you're allowed in. I went in anyway since I kinda know the owner, and it was empty, with only one other guy sitting there. I greeted the owner and ordered my bowl of ramen when the entitled Japanese salesman, I will call him ES, in a snobby voice said, "Excuse me, but what is this gaijin, a foul word for foreigner, doing here in this shop?" I'm just ordering a bowl of ramen. They are the best in town." The dude said, in bad English, "I'm not talking to you, filth." Then said again in Japanese, "I was asking the shop owner. You had a note on your door stating you do not allow foreigners." At this point, I started to secretly film this, since I wasn't sure that if things would go out of hand, the shop owner would be on my side. And the Japanese police tend to believe natives before foreigners. I don't know if filming is even allowed, but hey, proof is proof. I can hear what you're saying. I speak Japanese, you know." "Shut up, you filth. Do you know how important I am? I work at great Japanese department store office, and I work as a salesman there. Every day I make sure people get what they need. I'm responsible for 80 million people to get goods, something you could never do." I mean, no one asked what you did, mate, but fair enough. I just say, "Okay," in a manner like One Punch Man. The shop owner said, "Please calm down. I have no problem with people who speak Japanese. I just can't deal with foreigners who can't speak Japanese during rush hours. They sadly lose me money." "A foreigner is a foreigner. It doesn't matter if a Neanderthal knows how to speak our beautiful language. He is still a gaijin." Well, I'm actually a Japanese citizen. I relinquished my Dutch citizenship years ago to become a Japanese citizen. I'm Japanese now, whether you like it or not. "You are not Japanese, and you never will be. Our race will stay clean." That sounds, very Aryan, let's just say that. At this point, I decided to stop being polite and just troll the F out of this guy. "Oh, I have a Japanese wife, you know. I have 7 kids. I actually have 2, but whatever. My oldest daughter is president of the Archer Club." This was true, but I can't remember if she was at the time this happened. "And my 3rd son wanted to become a monk." This was a lie. I don't even have a son anyway. "You filthy foreigners steal all our wives. It's your fault I don't have a wife and family." "What? Well, maybe because you're an idiot." "Excuse me, you rude gaijin." "What? It's always hard for you to take the truth. You know how I got her? By being polite, being supportive, and letting her live the life she wants. Idiots like you only tell women to stay home, take care of the children, and shut up." "This is what I mean. You gaijins disgrace our traditions." "Are you serious?" "What? It is the role of women to birth children and stay at home. You Americans taught our women otherwise, and now we have a low birth rate." Funny, I don't remember the Netherlands being in the US, but I can speak like an American redneck if you want. "America, Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, it doesn't matter. You whites destroy everything beautiful in this world." So I reply in a Yank voice, "I ain't know, but you gotta relax. Hey, ever shot a Colt Python before? The best gun you can shoot. Tough at a distance of 12 gallons. I prefer a Deagle. I recently bought an MP15 with scope, and it's great to use against enemies of the free world." Shut up! I continue. "You're gonna see the Super Bowl tonight, mother effer? I have 10 inches of Diet Coke and 6 feet of McDonald's. Hey, did you know my NASCAR drove 200,000 yards and our proud president Donald J. Trump gave me the Medal of Patriotic Freedom?" I don't know, I was just using random American terms at this point. "Oh, you effing gaijins should all be gassed to death. You should all be collected and go in a gas chamber. Your bones will be used to strengthen our road, and we will exterminate all filth in our country." Oh my god. Honestly, I was shocked. I didn't expect him being this extreme. I just hoped he would walk out like the loser he was. Oh well, this guy wanted to fight, but I honestly didn't want to. The shop owner at this point was calling the cops and removed his "No Foreigners Allowed" sign, because it is technically illegal, but somehow we didn't throw punches. He was still shouting racist things and he was still acting entitled, but the cops came in and of course, "I was assaulted by that man, arrest him please." Luckily, the shop owner vowed for me, and the cops took him away, but not without the cherry on top. When the cops asked his name, he said his name, But the funny thing is, I have the same surname as him. And not only that, my wife's surname is kinda a historical name derived from samurai. So when I heard his name, I said, oh hey, my name is also my surname. This is when the guy flipped even more and started saying racist things again and wished me again into the gas chamber. But in his rage, he somehow forgot there was actual police next to him. So yeah, this guy was taken to the police office and got a fine. Later, I heard he was actually fired from his job. Out of gratitude for helping me out, and I guess as an apology for letting this thing get out of hand, I translated the shop owner menu into English and suggested some sort of system that if foreigners order stuff, it will go smoothly. Nowadays, the shop owner makes a small extra buck thanks to it. Yeah, this guy is just completely racist, isn't he? I mean, some of the stuff that he was saying there, I'll be honest, took me back to when I was just a young boy in 1930s Germany. Bit of a weird analogy, but you can see where I'm going with that. Like, going into gas chambers, saying we need to make our country pure and rid of foreigners. Jesus, I'm not a fan of that. Clearly, I doubt many people are. I mean, clearly, he needs to be, put in prison for a long time because you can't be openly racist. Like, he's such a racist that he didn't even clock there were police around. He was like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to continue being racist because I am one. So why not? I wonder what the criminal penalty is in Japan of being racist to foreigners, because if you were openly, publicly racist in England, you get sent to prison, probably for a good few years. I think at least you should be, because that sort of stuff is disgusting. So yeah, I hope this guy was put away for a long time. OP, I'm sorry this happened to you, but what a legend you are, by the way, for translating the menu after that. It wasn't even your fault you were openly attacked for being foreign in another country. But yeah, what a legend you are, and hopefully this business owner is very grateful to you. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/EntitledParents. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did and you are new to my channel, make sure you are subscribed and also hit the bell, because I'm uploading twice a day and you want to be notified every time I post throughout December. If you want some more right away though, you can't wait for the next upload, which is going to be in a few hours. Check out this playlist of all my Entitled Parents videos, and with that being said, I will see you later on for a brand new upload.